Yeah. Now this is really cool because, like, at the time, Batman was kind of a gray character. He was dressed in gray, but I always tried to get him as dark as possible on the cover, and this was like a really fun cover because they just let me get away with almost making him just like a silhouette with just tiny highlights on it. And again, Scarecrow, just a really evocative background, so it was a fun cover.
Okay, moving on, we are looking at the Tally Man. That would be number 19 in the Shadow of the Bat series.
Yeah, and this one features Batman in the new, what eventually became known as the Asbat costume, where it's like the Azrael sort of stepped in for the Batman for while the Batman was off, and this costume was it was a fun costume because it just looked really dangerous. It was just a real kind of metallic. It gave me a chance to play with a lot of different textures as a painter.
Okay, now we are at part 2 of 2. This is the Tallyman number 2, and it is Shadow of the Bat number 20.
Yeah, and this is pure film noir, where the entire image is lit by the machine guns, the Uzis that the Tallyman is just emptying into Asbat. And when you're doing so many covers for like a single series, you always have to try to find some sort of key to just really kind of set you off so that you can really enjoy working on it. And this was lighting was always a thing that sort of stepped to the forefront on a lot of these Batman covers. So getting a chance to just really do a cover that was just so dramatically lit like this was a lot of fun.
Moving on into Night Quest: The Search, it is Shadow of the Bat number 21.
Yeah, another just really neat cover, because with this one, I actually got a chance to play with Bruce Wayne. And to me, Batman is one of those characters where I think his alter ego is just as interesting as him as a superhero. And anytime I got a chance to do like Bruce Wayne on the covers, it was just so much fun. So I love the fact that since I was doing so many, I could oftentimes say to the guys, hey, how about let's go with Bruce on this one? And it was just really a fun piece.
So they always give you that leadway there as to who you could put on the cover and that sort of thing?
Yeah, sometimes they let me get away with it. Sometimes they'd kind of go, no, it's got to be Batman. But like a lot of times I would just try to throw curveballs at them, try to do something a little bit different,
Okay, the next one that we got here is Shadow of the Bat number 29, and it goes back to Asbat.
Yes. Yeah. And this was, again, just one of those just really dramatic covers where the whole thing is lit by this sword being plunged into Batman's back. And anytime I got a chance to just do something like that, that was just the lighting just made the cover for me. So this is a lot of fun.
We're down to the last two. This one is called Prodigal. It is number 32.
Now, one of the things that I really started doing a lot on the Shadow of the Bat covers, and later it expanded into doing other covers, but I would set up a design on the cover so that what would happen is, and we wouldn't actually say it, the issues would just come out and we'd hope that people would figure it out. But with this cover number 32 and cover number 33, they were, if you put them together, it makes a single large image with one side of Two-Face on one cover and the other side of Two-Face on the other cover. So anytime I had an opportunity to just really explore with doing covers that link together, it was just a lot of fun. So this is one of the early ones where we played around with that. So this is great.
And finally, Shadow of the Bat number 0.
Dude, there's just nothing better than this one right here. I mean, the cool thing about this was the assignment was Batman. Just go for it. We don't care. Just go for it. And they didn't want it tied to a story or anything like that. They just wanted a really dramatic image, as if this was cover number 1 of a character that you've never seen before. The really fun thing about this cover was I really wanted to get like that dramatic lighting on it. So the funny thing is I went out and bought like a giant, almost the size of a door, piece of plexiglass that was like a little bit more than an inch thick. And I put it on 2 sawhorses, and I put like a bunch of like black electrical tape and shined a light up through it, and then had my model sort of crouch on top of the table and shot pictures of him so I could get the lighting just right on this. And it was really scary for him because it was a sheet of plexiglass, and to him it just looked like he was kind of floating there. So it was like just really great. And another thing that I threw in was the Shadow of the Bat logo. You see the bat on here?
Yes.
I repeated that. Actually, the shadow that Batman's casting is also the shadow of the Bat logo. So it was like a really kind of neat thing, a sort of a nod to the logo and the other designers on the book.
Okay, so the question that we have to ask is, out of all the ones that you have signed here, which one is your favorite cover?
Out of all the ones that I've signed, not even a question. Number 0. That's the quintessential Batman right there. You just can't get any better than that. Anytime an editor comes up to you and just says, the character, go. That's as good as it gets right there. So I had a blast with it. It was just a lot of fun. And just in passing, another thing that was really cool about working on Shadow of the Bat is, I'd gotten into comics. I did one little independent book, and then I did a couple of covers and stuff like that. But I was just kind of, no one knew anything about me. It was just my name was absolutely nothing. And what was really cool was I got home one day, and there's a message on my answering machine, back in the days of answering machine, and it was this guy saying, "Yeah, this is Denny O'Neil. I want to talk to you about doing Batman covers." And it was of course, my first thought was, okay, who's pulling my leg? Yeah. Because, I'm thinking maybe 10, 20 years from now I'll get this call, but not now. And I called up my buddies, and they were like, "Nah, we wouldn't do that." So I called the number back, and Denny O'Neil picks up the phone. And the thing about it is I wasn't prepared to have a conversation with Denny O'Neil. And I'm trying to act like I'm cool and this is no big deal. I talk to Denny O'Neil all the time, but I'm just shaking. My voice is cracking, and we talked about doing some Batman work together, and it was just amazing. It's this guy is one of the most influential persons that ever touched Batman. He's right next to Bob Kane as far as Batman is concerned. He really made Batman into the character that we all love. And I'm talking to him, and he's asking me to do work. This is like walking on the moon, when you're 16. It's the weirdest thing in the world. But it was so cool to get that call, talk to him about that. And I did a couple of covers, and then this new Batman series came up, and he said, "I want you on that series. I want you to do what you do on the series." And I was just okay. So this series was so much fun because Denny O'Neil was the editor that I answered to. And Denny O'Neil was one of the best editors because his whole thing wasn't, "I want you to do the covers that I want." It was, "I've hired you because I think you're good. Just go and do the great covers that I expect for you to do." And with that kind of freedom, it's freedom and pressure at the same time. So you just want to please this guy, and this guy, he'd worked with Neil Adams, he'd worked with the best guys that ever drew Batman, and now he's asking me. So that was the coolest thing. So the series Shadow of the Bat, that made me, more than anything else. It's not my work, but that series.
So each one of these you look at as your children.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which one was the most troublesome child? What episode was the one that made you want to pull your hair out?
Oh my God, the most troublesome one. Of all the Batman series, probably the most. And I can't think of one in particular, but there were some where it's sketch after sketch after sketch after sketch, just a bunch of sketches, just trying to get that cover that everyone can agree on, but it's easier to pick out the best ones or my favorite ones than it is to pick out the ones that I had the most trouble on.
Awesome. Brian Stelfreeze, thank you for your time.
Dude, it was great hanging out with you, man.
And that man, I'm telling you what, I am still, to put it mildly in a California way, I am still stoked for that interview.
It was awesome.
As Professor Pixel would say, that was rad.
That was very rad. Let me explain what happened at this. And I need to put it in perspective. We got there after this thing had started. It started at 11. Mm-hmm. Mr. Stelfreeze, Brian, because I'm nasty. He was nice enough after going through sketchbook after sketchbook after sketchbook after sketchbook, which I might add, if I can go astray here for a second. We were there. We watched him do watercolors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And as soon as he was done with the watercolor, he went and did a black and white picture of Rogue. And, man, first and foremost, I love the 80s. I love the 80s, the 80s hairdos. She had, like, a huge amount of hair, but it was all done in black and white. And it was phenomenal.
He sat down with a brush pen and did that. He did light pencils to start the sketch, and then he took a brush pen and finished it up. And it was so much fun. As somebody who, for me, as somebody who is a fledgling illustrator myself, it was absolutely fascinating to sit there and watch him work.
But after being there all day, the show has wrapped up. Security had to come and tell us, well, they gave us the nasty look, like it was like in the old Tick cartoon. The doorman came up and he said that it was time for us to get out.
Yep.
Yeah. We were getting sidekicked out of the apartment.
They didn't actually tell us to get out, but I think that was the guy that walked up just as we were leaving. I think that was his mission.
Yeah.
If we hadn't have started walking.
Well, thank you for taking away my edge and making us look all mild-mannered and crap.
Yeah, we got kicked out, man.
But anyway, the man was gracious enough to extend his time at that for almost an hour past the show.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great. Thank you, Brian Stelfreeze. We cannot thank you enough. We also have we're going to try to work out an interview with the guy that does the covers from Shaft.
Mm-hmm. No, he's not just a cover artist. He's the artist, the full art. I don't know how you
paid a familiar.
Say it. Huh?
He's the paid a familiar. Oh, brother, where art thou? Watch it. Just watch it.
Anyways,
apparently I have watched it. Just apparently not as much as you have. But yeah, he's the artist for Shaft and a couple other books. So we're going to set up an interview with him as well. Stanford Green is his name.
Yes.
Sanford, not Stanford. Sorry. And we did record an interview with Tom Gardner, who is the head of the Carolina Garrison for the 501st, yes. Which is basically it's a professional cosplay group for Star Wars.
Yes.
They've been basically sanctioned by Lucasfilms. So when Lucasfilms needs someone to be at a premiere, or they do the Rose Bowl each year, Lucasfilm contacts them to come and do this stuff because they know like I said, you might as well just call them professional cosplayers. They have standards that you have to live up to if you're going to be part of the 501st. So yeah, it's we've got an interview with him, who is, like I said, who's the head of the Carolina Garrison, to give us a little insight into the 501st and what they do.
And I'm telling you what, folks, this is what I found most impressive. If you want to be a member of the Imperial Pilots and you have a TIE fighter, this thing better be able to do a parsec. I'm not kidding you. They are pretty. They are, and I got to give it up to them. I mean, these people are taking this stuff as serious